Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC?
Having a little snap.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
was
new? Is
watching the
that part?
Raptors game last night and they got a new player called Quickly. And after he puts in a three-pointer, he kind of does this little dance. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so you're doing that now, but you all added a little snap. So that
Yeah,
was
you
kind of
got
all
you got to
fun.
make it your own.
Yeah, true. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm thinking. I like to try to, when it comes to the rants, make them somewhat timeless, but at the same time, we can't ignore sometimes the season that we're in. And so they'll be relevant anytime because it's going to be about kind of about goal setting.
Okay.
But I'll say specifically, I want to ask you about like what things you do when it's a new year. And I'm just going to preface or give context to people that people maybe have heard me. This is something I've often talked about that uh, going into the new year, there's such a range of things that people like different people have different things that they do, right? Some people get super granular on like, annual goals and all the strategies and steps, and maybe it's routines, just visualization, vision boards. There's so many things people do, right? And for me, I am one of those people that if I'm not careful, I can get a little bit sort of sucked into this idea that if I don't have this clear plan for the year that like I'm failing or I'm not going to achieve cool goals or whatever it is. So I can tell what I do in the new for the new year. And to be very clear, I'm not saying you need to do something, but I am curious in the, couple weeks leading up to a new year and or in the beginning of a new year, are there things that Robert Bruski does? And are you even willing to share?
Yeah. Are we talking about business stuff or do you want to know about my personal life as well?
Well, that's up to you. But I mean, really anything like, because to me, it especially when you're self-employed, like you own your own business, your business really trickles into your personal life. So maybe it's a bit of both or whatever, anything, just whatever lands on you or comes to mind here. What do you do, or if anything, or because yeah, I'll just zip it.
Okay, well, you know what? I love the Christmas holiday from a business standpoint. I mean, I love it from other reasons too, but from a business standpoint, it reminds me a lot of August because during the Christmas holiday in August, everyone is away on vacations. That's where I'm building my master plan, right? So what I do is I do all the prep there. So when the new year comes around and everyone's like, all right, new year, new me, let's make a plan. I'm like, I already got a plan. We're ready to deploy. We're 3 steps ahead of you. Watch out, you know? So I mean that's one of the things I do, you know. I almost find like when you're already in the new year, it's too late. Like you're already behind the ball, you know, you got to be prepped for that ahead of time. So annual meetings, quarterly meetings, all that sort of stuff. I love to deal with that in December rather than January because when you have that sort of gumption to really tackle things in the new year, how much does it suck to say, okay, we're all so excited. Now let's go in a boardroom and meet for 3 days. You know what I mean? So that's,
Yeah.
I think, one of the big things.
Okay. So I had a feeling you would go there. So is there anything that you do from a personal standpoint to head into the new year or anything on your mind? Or are you just like, hello, 2024?
No, from a personal standpoint, the first thing I do is go to church. Like, honestly, like the amount of stuff that I go through and like anyone goes through, you know, around the world, like you can't do that on your own. You know, you need a supernatural power. So that's the first thing that I do.
Love it. Okay. Okay. Do you review like your routines or anything, or, set any personal goals for the year?
Like we I'm constantly
Me, myself, and I.
yeah, the staff meeting I have in my head. Um, we're constantly reviewing routines, right? If something's not working, we got to change it, all that sort of stuff. We don't really wait till the year is over and like, all right, let's try something different next year, right? With goals, I mean, the thing is like I'm always working and operating so like on the fly that if something isn't working and I can tell that it's not working, I'm like, all right, we need to change this right now. You know,
Mhm,
like whether it's staffing, there's always a hire slow, fire fast, whether it's, different efficiencies and things like that. We got to go, right? Like we're running out
mhm.
of time. So, um, I don't, I hate to say it, but it almost feels like this chiming into the new year is like doesn't affect anything. Like we have that grit and moxie and drive and to stay hungry every single day. We wake up and say, "Good morning, you stunning ray of sunshine. Time to go crush things."
Okay. So we as in, again, you or the team?
Me, like all my
Oh,
personalities in my head.
okay. Yeah, you sure did open up on this on this rant. Okay, gotcha. Well, I'll reflect on that. If
What's
you would
what's
like.
shaking with you? Like what are your things? You asked the
Yeah,
question.
well, I think I kind of hinted at this before, but that, I think people can get sort of this feeling like, oh, what am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do and whatever. And um I I think I'm maybe kind of saying similar to you. I already have some pretty well polished routines that I love that work. So this year, especially because I had really just gotten to a point where I'm like, not that I'm definitely always about leveling up and learning and growth and what can I do better. I'm always trying to reflect. So I think what I do is I look at the new year, it's just an opportunity that kind of forces you to, it's like a birthday, how a birthday forces you to sort of, well, I know you never really stop, but stop and kind of like live a little or reflect or it just reminds you of something. So for me, the new year is a time where I can sort of reflect on, is there something that I want to try to do different? I'm definitely not going, oh, I should make up a resolution for the year. I don't do resolutions,
Hmm.
but I do think it's just a good time to force me to stop and reflect. So I, over the last, week of the prior year, I start kind of pulling out a journal and making some notes on some things that happened, like a list of, good things that have happened that year. If there's anything that I don't really regret things a whole lot because I always think I learn from them. But if there is anything that I'm kind of like, oh, I need to work on this. So I start by just kind of brain dumping out just reflection and all that. And then if there's anything I need to take from that into going into the new year, like there's, an action step that I'm like, yeah, for example, say I want to improve my speaking skills. Okay, that's something that came up in my reflection. What am I going to do to take action on that? Am I going to hire a coach? Am I going to use a mentor of mine? Am I going to practice? What am I going to do to get better at that? So it does get me focused on, okay, what's my focus personally for this year on some things that I want to do to just continue to level up. So for me, that is I didn't find a lot when it comes to morning routine. I'm pretty good there. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Um, but actually, one thing I'm going to try to work on a little bit more is an evening routine. I haven't really done, usually by the evening, by the time I go to bed, I'm like, "Bah, I'm done. I don't want to think. I don't want to open the brain back up. Like the kitchen's closed. But because I'm way more of a morning person, so like I always think like I start high energy and just go down throughout the day. You, on the other hand, start high, go and then go to bed high, go to sleep. Like I don't think you have the down. Like you anyway, so for me it's maybe just reflecting a little bit more on what I can do at the end of the day. So I guess I'm not giving any really concrete things that I'm planning on doing because there's not a super big thing that I'm doing different. Maybe a bit more discipline in looking at my phone or social media, reactive, being reactive. I'm trying to be more proactive. So I'm
I'll tell you
just,
that's not surprising, because some of the traits I've noticed of incredibly successful people, which you are people who
mm,
already have routines and goals and things like that. If you're already doing that, that's a contributor to your success.
well, thank you. But I do think it is important to reflect and check in on it. So, and if there have been times where there's something that I want to do new. So,
Cool.
all right. Well, we can carry that conversation on next time.
Yep. All right, let's
Let's
wrap
wrap
it
it up.
up. 3, 2, 1, go
Go
be
be awesome.
awesome.